Hello everybody, I'm Bertie from Eurogamer and I'm here today in London to see Kingdom Come Deliverance, the no fantasy medieval RPG that has been turning heads for a couple of years now, made in the Czech Republic. The people leading me through the demonstration today are Martin Ziegler, the technical director.
Hi.
And Tobias Stolz.
Hi.
The PR manager. Guys, what are we seeing today? Because we've seen, the game has been, there are videos of the game available on YouTube at the moment. What have we seen already and what are we going to see today?
Yes, well, today we will show you the beta version of Kingdom Come Deliverance, which will be the first big, let's say, part where we can show you the plot of the game.
So it's been in alpha so far?
Yes, exactly. It's been in alpha so far, so maybe one of your fans or some of your fans already played the alpha. In the alpha it was more like a lineup of features, and now we will show what the game is about, we will show the plot, we will show most core features, and in the big end of the beta you will also be able to have a large-scale battle and a small castle siege.
Fantastic. So, just to refresh our readers' memory, this game is coming out in the summer on PC.
Yes, well, we are still working on the summer release date, so the idea was to release the game on summer and then to follow up with the console versions. Right now, we are still indie developers, but we are in negotiations with the publishers we need someone to bring the games into the shops, right? So we need a distributor, and he kind of wants us to sync it with the console versions. So we are still in negotiations. We will see, but worst case for us, or for best case for you, will be summer this year for the PC versions, and then with a follow-up of the consoles. Or if the publisher wants us to sync it, we will release everything, let's say, by the end of the year. So we'll see about that.
Okay. Let's jump in then. Let's load it up.
Okay, what we will see now in the beta, I told you already that we will show you the background of the story, so we will start with an intro scene. In this intro scene you will pretty much see the story, what's happening there. It's seems like Czech history, but in fact it's European history because it's the Holy Roman Empire. And this intro, as I said, will show you part of the story, and it will also show the first quests of the game, because this intro now is a bit longer, but later it will be playable.
Bohemia and Holy Roman Emperor had a long and successful reign. The empire he ruled from Prague expanded, and his subjects lived in peace and prosperity.
So the technical alpha I have played, and that's already available. There's sword fighting in there. Sword fighting is one of the unique things. We'll see some combat, and there are some new weapons as well that we'll get to see presumably.
Yes, there's axes now and maces, so there's a new kind of damage that you can deal, like bludgeon damage with the maces and hammers. You can also fight with a shield now, so we only had the two-handed sword in the alpha, but you can now combine the single-handed weapons with shield, so you can do sword and shield, axe and shield, mace and shield. We're still working on the pole arms, like halberds and spears and stuff, so that's not in the beta, but that's well on track for the final game.
And am I right to believe that mounted combat is not going to make this version?
Well, we're not sure. That's one of the things that we still have to develop. That's very much different from the combat on foot. So it's something that we are developing as we speak, and we are going to see whether that's going to make it for the first stack or if we need to polish it for the second one. But we still develop it as we speak. We want to have it in the game. It's just a question of whether it's good enough for releasing in the first stack. So we'll see about that.
This looks lovely, by the way.
Thank you.
Lovely art style.
Yes, thank you very much. So you will see what actually... The interesting thing is that this really happened. So this is based on a true story. So that's not something fictional we came up with. This is pretty much taken out of the history books. So this is the story of our ancestors, even of yours maybe. And you will have the chance to play your personal story within this historical correct part. And right now, there's this part of the intro is pretty much the beginning of the later finished game. So this part is already playable, and you will have your, let's say, tutorial quests or something like that in the game. And you will start as the son of a blacksmith, and the interesting thing is that you will stay the son of a blacksmith, because you will never become a ruler or a king or something like that, but you will always be one of the people. And since your hometown gets destroyed, like you see here, you will get in the service of a noble who is forming resistance against the attacking army. So by, let's say, unlucky accident, you will get torn into a civil war, and you have to fight your fight.
So how much scope are we going to have to change the events of history? Because that's quite exciting to me. Like, if I play a game like Total War, I'm going to just completely change what happened. Can we do that here?
No, history is something you can't change, so everything stays as it is supposed to be, like everything is happening as it's supposed to happen. But what you can do is pretty much, as I said, tell your story within the historical story, and you can have great influence on the quests and everything which is happening inside the game. So let's pretend that, I don't know, there's a quest where you have to kill someone, and it's about you if you want to let him die, or if you want to let him survive, or if you want to team up with the bandits, or do other stuff. So it's about how you play and how you decide to be in the game, because everything, and that's very important for us, everything you decide or everything you do in the game should call a proper response and should have some outcome out of it. So yeah, that's the way, that's what you can do and what you can change, and that leads to very funny situations, because the game is, let's say, very dynamic, and it's about the player, how he wants to make it and how he wants to solve the quests.
So, one thing about the game, this was a crowd-funded game, maybe people don't realise that, but there was also money that came in away from crowdfunding as well. I mean, how big is this production? I think I was led to believe this is a kind of 40-50 person studio, or is it even bigger?
Well, right now, around Kickstarter we were, let's say, 25 people. That was in February or January 2014. And before, we struggled to get money from publishers because, well, they kind of liked the idea, but we're just offering neck-breaking contracts, so we couldn't go with them. But then we decided, well, we found a publisher in investor in Czech Republic, and he said, let's do it. But he needed some kind of, say, business case or something to see that it makes sense to invest, and we decided to go on Kickstarter. And Kickstarter, pretty much, we wanted 300,000 British pounds back then and got 1.1 million pounds, which is like a huge success, of course. But to be honest, this is just, well, a very small part of the entire production costs. Well, that was just the part that made the investor invest, right? So expect a double-digit million amount of money you need for this types of game, this types of games. So, well, of course, this is very costly, but we want to make the best out of it.
So this is us with the kind of the black hair, not this guy.
No, that's our liege lord. So basically, our city got burned down. We had to run to this very castle to warn the liege lord that there's a bandit ambush going on. And basically, our entire family is dead now, right? And our city is burned down, so we have nothing to do and nothing to lose, really. So we entered, this is Sir Robert, so we entered Sir Robert's services. And we're basically about in the middle of the game, so we did some quests for him. What happened in the cutscenes that we talked over a minute ago is that, and that would actually happen in the final game by now, is that there was an ambush on a stables, pretty violent, like horses got slaughtered and people got slaughtered. And we're investigating on behalf of Sir Robert, who is behind this vicious attack. And our only lead that we have is that there's one of the bandits still alive, called Riki, who is supposedly living around the Talbot castle here somewhere. So that's the lead that we're going to follow.
I'm liking the lip syncing here. I haven't seen this before in the tech alpha. They look like their mouths are moving very well, which is very nice. The other thing about this game, obviously, is that it's one of the best. It's one of the best looking games that I've seen for a while. But I mean, it is quite demanding on computers. Is that something people will find, that they're going to need a powerful machine? And how does that work on console? How is that?
Yeah, for sure. Well, we have to find some sort of compromise, as every developer does, between our ambitions. So we want the game to be the best that it could, and the people being able to play the game, right? So our approach to that is that we want the game to be the best that we can make it, really, and then we're going to optimize a lot for the people for the machines that people actually use. That means for consoles we do, of course, a lot of optimizations, but as in any development, we're going to do these in the late stages of the development. So we still have many ideas about what we want to optimize to make this run more smoothly. But yeah, we do have a lot of AI that is very intensive. So our game is actually, you mentioned that it looks great, so thank you. But unlike other RPGs, we're also very demanding on the processor, on the CPU, because of all the AI, because of the real-time combat system. But we're pretty confident that people will be able to run our game all right on their machines.
Yeah.
So we are about to find this Riki guy. So what people also need to understand that with Kingdom Come Deliverance, this is an RPG, of course, but combat is a big feature in the game, but this game is not about combat. So, you can, of course, if you want, decide to fight them all and kill them all, you can feel free to do so. But it's more about the investigation. Where's Riki? You have to talk a lot with the people. You need to find out every particular information. Even though this person claims to not know something, if you ask twice or 3 times or go deeper into the dialogues, you will maybe get that one piece of information that you desperately need, and that's what the game is about. So it's by default more about, let's say, the RPG where the core is really the role playing, where you have to be Henry, the son of a blacksmith, where you have to incarnate as him, where you have to talk to the people, investigate a lot. And then on the other side, as I already said, you can don't need to go this quiet way, let's say. You can also go the brutal way and pull out your sword and kill them all and fight your way through the lines. Or in this case, where we have to find Riki, since we don't spawn anyone magically on the planet, everyone is living somewhere and existing somewhere. And if you go to the woods and try to find Riki on your own, you can find him, and the quest will go on from that point. So, we have a lot of options for you here ready, and it's about you how you want to solve those quests.
What's the consequence? What are the consequences like in the world? Do the people let's just grab BioWare for instance? In those games, you get good or evil, and the world reacts to you kind of accordingly. How does the world react to you here? I know there's a crime system in place, but
Well, there's actually several systems that are interconnected. We definitely want you to feel the consequences and to see the consequences of your actions around the world. We have a reputation system, so every NPC has their own individual reputation with you. So, for example, if you complete a quest for somebody, they're going to like you much better than they did before. On the other hand, if you are violent around the village, if you are violent towards someone, then they're going to fear you, and obviously their reputation will be lower. This is all spreading for factions, which basically means villages or communities as well. So if you complete a quest for someone in the village, all the other people in the village are going to like you slightly more too, and this is then reflected in a lot of things. So people, just small aesthetic things that have no meaning, like for example, everyone greets you whenever you start a dialogue. So if they like you better, they're going to welcome you more wholeheartedly.
So we just gained a skill level in talking.
Yes, yeah, we did. So we have several skills that you improve as you use them. So stats as skills, for example, strength and agility are bound to weapons. Each weapon in our game is either strength based or agility based. So as you use that weapon, you level that particular stat. For example, speech we leveled up by talking to people. So for each particular dialogue branch, we have a certain amount of experience points for the
So if
speech
I
skill.
have, say, speech 15,
Yeah.
and I'm talking to someone, I'm going to be able to choose different dialogue choices? Or?
Yeah, sure. Well, the way it works is that there are some dialogue branches that are locked behind some sort of a skill check. One of these is persuasion. So for some branches, we, in order to follow them, we need to persuade the person, and our speech skill is what determines whether we are able to do that. Yeah, horse whispering is, you improve that as you ride your horse, and it improves the amount of control you have over the horse, sort of the stability of the driving.
And all of these skills are governed by use, as in like a game.
Yeah. We do have particular mechanics for some of the skills. Like for example, stealth skill gets leveled by you being in areas where you shouldn't be, and where it is dangerous to be spotted and not being spotted at the same time.
What Martin didn't say is that if you level up, you will get the chance to choose perks, and those perks will be permanent helps later in the game. And what we want is that we will offer a lot of different perks, of course, for several weapons. Even the horse will have some RPG stats, and there will be a lot of things to choose and to create your character, let's say. But what we want is that you will not be able to pick them all in one playthrough, so you will not be like super powerful in everything in the end, but it's about more like which way you choose to go. So if you decide to more again the violent way, we can level or get the fighting perks. Here we already said that we leveled the speech. Now we can do the persuasion. We already understand that Adela is likes Hinek or Ricky, so we should use the positive answer. Because the second, the more negative one would, she would send us to hell, most likely.
Well, the idea behind this, if I can jump in, is that basically these are both persuasion checks, but the first one is easier than the other.
Okay.
And we don't telegraph this to the player in any visible way at the moment, but what we want the player to do is to actually listen to the dialogue and sort of have the feeling himself that the friendlier way is probably the better way to approach this because of what she said so far. So that's one of the ways that we try to hint to the player that he should actually listen to what is going on in the conversations.
So this, the quest that we're following now is a main quest.
Yes, this is a main quest basically in the middle of the game.
One thing people really like in games like these, I'm thinking of the Elder Scrolls games particularly, is that they can just do whatever they like. They don't even have to do the main quest. They can go and eke out a living. Live in the woods or something. I don't know. What's the freedom like here? Do we have to follow the quest line?
No, not at all. Well, the way we think about this is that it's an open world game with a lot of robust systems, but it's also a story-driven game, and we want to do the mix of both of these, sort of in a way where the story drives you to the locations where it's appropriate for you to be at that particular level. We want the story to hint to you like what are the mechanics that you should investigate. We want the story to help you understand how the game works, to help you understand the world. We want the story to be driven and the side quests as well to be there for you to understand the topics that were relevant for people at that time, for the society at this place at time.
And again, we don't want to take the player by the hand. It's more like, here it is, that's the world, you're inside, and now try to find your way, and whatever you want to do, you are free to do. What we did right now, we talked to Adela, and she told us several options. She told us that Ricky's dad is here on the left side, so we might talk to his father. He also told us that he's a poacher, so we should maybe talk to the innkeeper who's probably buying the stuff. Or if we zoom out, she told us that he's full of wood chips and stuff like this, so we maybe should check the woodcutters camp here in the north. And this is, by the way, a very small part of the beta map, if we can see here. The alpha was here where the stars are, that was the alpha map, and we now the map is now 4 times bigger, the beta map, and the entire map is around still 16 square kilometers, so you can see it's just a sixth of the entire map we will walk through. And so the quest markers, you will always get just quest markers if this particular person who you are talking to exactly knows where to go. So if someone is describing you the way and tells you, well, I was drunk, left, right, then I saw a tree and something, you will not get a quest marker on the area, but you have to follow every step by step by his description, otherwise you won't find it.
Okay, so should we go find this Riki guy?
Of course. One last thing I want to mention is here, if we talk to the innkeeper, we have another, more things to do here. We can either intimidate him, bribe him, money always works, right? Or use the persuasion. The interesting thing is, why I wanted to show it to you, is that right now it's not working, but for the final game we want that you have just a limited amount of options to choose. That means like you can't just take every single option and then it works and then you go on. And we want that you have to decide or choose one, and if it fails, you will lower the reputation to this particular person. So it can mean that you won't have the chance to use the other ones. And in terms of, well, Martin already said it, that it's your skill check against the skill check of the person you're talking to. So in terms of intimidation, you try to intimidate someone who's obviously a badass and stronger than you, he will immediately go into a fight with you. Well, because you challenged him, right? Okay. So this is the way how it should work. We'll have a small haggling system in the game where someone wants money from you and you can, well, this is how the shop works. Either you can immediately pay or you can haggle with him. He wants 20 grosh and we can try to... This on the bottom is the how good his nerves are. So we will offer him 15. Let's see if this will work. Yes, very good. So we don't have to pay the amount he wants us to pay, and we can haggle even with the shopkeepers and people. So, well, to spoil you a little bit, he told us, I will show you the map again, he told us, he would tell us if we ask him more, that here are, oh, he did it. Here are sorry, he didn't show this, yes, here is a stone quarry, miners are working there, we can take a look there. And he's telling us that the miners know about all mine shafts and all caves in this area. And he thinks that Riki is in a cave because he's always buying candles and stuff before he goes poaching. We already learned that Riki is a poacher. And yeah, so let's take a small look at the quarry and then we will immediately fly to Riki and ask him about the attacks.
Okay, and when we're in town, and let's say we want to cause a bit of mayhem.
Why would you want to do that?
Wow, you know. So if we just start killing people in town, for instance, what happens to us?
We're trying to be, that's one of the systems that we actually dedicate a lot of time and work for. We do want the reactions to make sense. So if you would be to start some sort of a mayhem anywhere, people that would see you would react to that differently based on their courage, based on their social role in the village. So, for example, if there would be a guard or a bailiff in a village that would see you, they would run towards you, obviously try to stop you. If you would be actually violent, you would be actually shooting at people, or trying to start a fight. They would actually try to stop you violently as well. If you would be just doing petty crimes, like you would be lockpicking stuff, you would be suspiciously crouching and sneaking around, or you would be stealing from someone, they are going to force you to pay a fine. If you refuse to do that, then you go to jail, which hits your reputation really badly. We try to simulate this.
What happens when you go to jail? How do you get out of jail?
Well, we don't have a jail in beta, so unfortunately you won't see that. But basically,
well, the funny thing is he will bring you into jail, and then we have a small text box which tells you, well, lucky you, there is no jail right now in the beta. Let's fly to the woodcutters, please.
All right, sure.
And we will now cheat a bit to fly faster to the right place. I just wanted to really quickly show you before we go to Riki. Well, he's hiding in the woods. The funny thing is that this guy here in front of us knows where Riki is, but he remembers very bad. He tells us he was there once at his hideout, but he was really drunk. So he doesn't give us a quest marker, but he tells us, well, it was west of the woodcutters camp, then we got straight, then there was a stone, then there was a rabbit and stuff like this. And you will have to find your way through the forests. And just before we go to Riki directly, just wanted to show you that, well, the game sets place in Bohemia in the year 1403. Bohemia is part of Czech Republic still. And since our studio is in Prague, in the capital, we can visit all those places, castles, buildings. And we are not taking only reference pictures of buildings, but also of vegetation. So if you take a look on those trees, we don't use speed tree, for example. All those trees were handmade by our 3D artists and then brushed over the world. So yeah, we take a lot of energy to create the world to make it as immersive as possible. We want the player to believe that he's really standing in a medieval forest. Look, there is a small hut here.
Are there any nasty creatures in the forest?
Well, it's a period of sort of civil war, so that there's all sorts of bandits and renegades running around, and we do have random encounters in the beta, so there's that you could stumble upon someone ambushing someone else, or a caravan being ambushed, or just a solo renegade somewhere that you would need to engage or sneak around. Well, in terms of animals, there's just a sort of game that you could hunt down for meat, but rabbits are fine, but the boars will attack you, and they're actually a pretty heavy foe.
Okay, so we will now fly to Riki directly.
Also, I think I read somewhere that you can get lost in the forest. Is it?
Well, yes, I just got lost. That's the way. That's the reason why I had to fly away. Well, yes, the forest is a huge place in the north. We will. If I open the map, I will spoil where Riki is. No, I won't open the map. So the north of the beta map is a huge forest, and you can get lost there. So of course.
And there's also you have to eat and sleep.
There's a survival element.
How demanding is that? Will we? I mean, how much do we have to eat? How much?
Sure, yeah. That's something that we obviously still will have to balance. So we're trying to find the right compromise. But right now, you would need to eat. Well, we're going to need to eat in I don't know, double the time that we played already or something. We need to eat and to sleep in order to stay in good condition for fights. And
otherwise, our stamina.
You're going to get debuffs that will degrade your stats. So that's obviously not a good condition to start a fight. If it drops really low, then you're going to actually faint from time to time. So that fades out your screen and your vision starts to blur. If it drops even lower, you might actually pass out. So that means that you're going to stay at the place where you are exactly, and we skip a lot of time. And then you can obviously die of exhaustion as well.
Yes, so you can die out of hunger. I will just skip this dialogue, because what Riki tells us that, he was there at the attacking of the farm, of the stables, but there were another gang, and you will get a new name, Runt, and Runt will be the ultimate bad guy in the game. And the interesting thing is, the quest is to find Riki, because we thought Riki is the last remaining guy. The interesting thing is that I already said that we don't spawn anyone on the world. If you followed the intro in the beginning, you learn that some people are also tracking down those guys because they are killing them. So we already tried to find Riki and his gang, but always one step before we actually found them, they were already dead. And right now, pretty much the same is happening. So if we take too long in the world picking herbs and walking around, running around, those bandits would find Riki before us, and they would actually kill him. So that would mean for us that we need to find another way how to get the final quest, the boss Runt. So that's really interesting, I would say.
So do we get to chop someone up now?
Yes.
Yeah, we do.
That's those bandits who are after Riki. Please, what we are playing right now is a pre-beta version, so it's not 100% perfect yet. So they will not attack me immediately. I will have to run to them and wake them up. But the idea is that Riki will help you here. So one common question is if we have companions in the game. No, we don't. But in some quests, some missions, and some parts of the game, you will have someone who will fight with you. And in a second, you will see how important that is if you have to find more than one person, because, our combat system is very sophisticated.
Yeah, so this is one of the big things about the game, is that this is a kind of physics-based sword fighting. It's supposed to be as real as possible, and I've played it, and it's hard.
It is.
It's
for
tricky.
Sure.
And it's also, people might not understand what you do, so you have to guard and attack using that style.
So there's several. You pick a zone with the right stick if you're playing on gamepad, and then you can aim for the head or for the upper left, upper right, lower left, lower right zone.
Wake up.
Yeah, he's going to wake up if you hit him, I imagine.
Hopefully.
Fine.
Well, if not, that's not kind of a big deal, because we can fly to a. Well, normally they should attack us all, of course. Well, that's a pity, but we can fly to a large-scale battle, the final battle in the end of the beta, and we see how his clothes get bloody and everything, and he's running away. That's another thing. We will have a mercy option and a giving up option, let's say, so people who are really hurt and wounded, they might run away. And let's fly through the final battle
All right.
to show you just an idea of how our large-scale battles should work.
Okay. And so things people will have to keep an eye on in combat is obviously stamina. And what I liked
Exactly.
as well was that when someone parries or when someone hits you,
Yeah.
it also shakes your vision
Yes.
around as if you were getting banged on the head in real life.
Well, stamina is super important because you need it for attacking, and as well you use it basically. It's not that you use it for blocking, but if you're blocking all the time, then your stamina regenerates more slowly.
It's the yellow bar on the bottom.
It's the yellow bar in between the two red bars.
And the red is your health.
The red is your health. The thing is that the maximum health is also your maximum stamina. So if your health is dropping, then your maximum stamina is dropping as well. So we're basically capping your resource if you get hurt. We're capping your resource that you need for attacking as well. If you're moving quickly, then that draws your stamina as well. So you need to regenerate sometimes by just moving around and calmly waiting for your turn to strike. We have bleeding in beta now, so if you do get hit particularly heavily, then you get a bleeding debuff, or your opponent gets a bleeding debuff, which drains his health over time.
Okay, so we're having this is a proper.
Yeah.
So how does it work? Because I fought one-on-one in the technical alpha with the sword master, but here obviously there are lots of opponents, and I think people can see here that it can get quite tricky. How do you have to engage people one-on-one?
Exactly. Normally in a one-on-one battle you are always locked to your opponent. As you see, I'm turning around, I'm not locked to anyone, because in the big brawl it would be like a real mess. What we will do here in the big fights is that you have to attack someone, if I can catch him, and then you are locked to him, you see? So now I'm locked to him, he will recognize me as an opponent, and then we are about to fight. So it's like you can technically fight them all at once, but you are not locked to anyone unless you attack someone or someone attacks you. So you don't need to wake them up all, but some can just, like this guy here from the back. You see, I did not do anything to him, he just attacked me from the back.
And so he's holding an axe as
exactly.
and a shield.
And decided to attack someone else.
Well, the most important thing about the battle is that basically we skipped over the whole part of the main quest where we could influence heavily how the battle will turn out. There's several ways throughout the quest where you can scout the place out, figure out several places where it would be good to sabotage their forces, so you could find weaknesses like arrow stashes that you can burn, or you can poison their food, which gives them debuffs for combat. Then you actually advise to Sir Robert on how many soldiers he should take with him to battle. So there's several ways that you can influence even the conditions under which the battle is going to happen. Well, the actual fight in the battle is obviously an influence as well, but the important thing to realize is that you can lose this battle and the story will still recover. It's not a game over if you lose this battle, it's just a slightly different story branch.
How do you know which people to attack here?
Yeah, that's kind of tricky. So, well, there's three parties in this battle, actually. There's bandits and humans collaborating against the soldiers of Sir Robert and you. And obviously we need to signal or telegraph to the player somehow who he is supposed to engage, right? Humans are very easy to tell apart because they wear very particular armor. But the bandits and soldiers...
There's a human, for example.
Yeah, so we can tell the human apart really easily. But the bandits and soldiers can get confused pretty easily. But at the same time, this is somewhat realistic. In actual battles, people were... it was easy to confuse your opponents with your allies in actual battle as well. But we are working on that as we speak, and we try to make them more distinguishable from each other.
And we can, of course, loot them completely and take their clothes. The interesting thing is that, well, right now we are in a big battle, but Martin was already talking about it, that if we decide to go, we skip the big part of the battle, but we can find humans all around the map, or not all around, but on some places. And if we kill one and loot them all, we can infiltrate this camp even before we actually started to attack. So we can take the human clothes, go here inside, poison the food, investigate which way would be the right to attack and stuff like this. And with all those information, we can then influence the later outcome of the game. And I just already will spoil you. Here inside is Runt waiting for you, and he will be the big boss fight. And as Martin said, you can win or lose. Everything will have an impact on the story, and everything both are legit options, for example, of course. And yeah, that's pretty much the idea we have, and that's pretty much the beta of Kingdom Come Deliverance. And again, as I said, it's an early beta version. That's not what you are about to play in March, but it pretty much gives you already an idea what you can expect.
Fantastic.
And yeah,
So the beta is coming when exactly?
the 3rd of March.
Okay. And how can people get in on this? Will this be an early access release?
It's let's say I always call it semi-open or semi-closed. What we do, since we took the Kickstarter idea and took it on our homepage, and so you can still fund the project on our homepage on www.kingdomcomerpg.com. And if you fund the project there, you can get alpha access, beta access, merchandise, and all this kind of stuff. And yeah, so it's accessible on our homepage, and there you get either a Steam key or we are working on our own downloader. So we will come up with something cool.
Fantastic. Well, Martin and Tobias, thank you very much for showing us Kingdom Come Deliverance. People who are interested, look out for it in March. If not, look out for it in the summer or beyond, depending on what happens. Thank you very much for watching. Subscribe if you liked what you saw. And yeah, you'll hear from us again. Thank you very much.